Back in December, I did an unboxing from Luxario wheels, both the F-types and the B-types, which were sent to me for review by Nick. Thank you very much to Nick for that. I loved both sets. I have them set up on my round side right now, and also my snake house, which is a new board. I just got this today, actually. But the F-types have clearly been used a lot because I mean, look at how dirty they are. After trying out the wheels, I continuously kept in touch with Nick because I just really love everything that he's doing for the company, not just the product, but all the content that he's making. By now, I'm assuming a lot of you have already heard of Luxario, but you might not be sure as to whether or not this company is just a really hyped up or whether the quality is actually good. Basically, I'm just here to make a really in-depth and honest review. I had first heard of Luxario through Instagram, like most of you probably. I don't remember exactly how I found the account, but I remember seeing all the photos up there. I think he had maybe 2 or 3 posts up, and I was just like, wow, this is so professional. I started to realize that his posts were actually 3D renders, which makes a lot of sense because Nick actually works in the VR and AR industry. You've probably seen some of his work. But what this means is making these renders is just almost second nature to him. Before getting the chance to talk with Nick, I was honestly also very skeptical about the company because a lot of people come into the scene and they just want to profit off of it, so they come in with really good photography skills or 3D rendering skills, and they just sort of utilize that to make money. But thankfully, Nick has actually been fingerboarding since 2006. He had to quit in 2012 because I guess life just got too busy. I mean, he works in VR, but you know, with the pandemic, he had a lot more time and he started developing a wheel company, and Luxario was born. I think most other people were skeptical about this company because of the rendering, and they didn't know whether these renders were accurate depictions or representations of what the actual wheels would be like. But in my mind, I always thought that because he was making 3D renders, it meant that either number 1, he really believed in his product, or he was just number 2, plain stupid, and I was willing to bet on the former. Needless to say, these wheels completely exceeded my expectations. The first thing I wanted to talk about is the material. It's not plastic and it's also not urethane. It's actually a custom polymer blend that Nick mixes himself, which he calls Luxethane. All the wheels, no matter what shape or type, they're all the same durometer, so they're all 68 durometer, so it's not too soft and also not too hard. To be honest, I think they're more hard than they are soft. I remember when I saw these wheels, I thought they looked like an opaque plastic, so I just assumed they would feel like plastic. But when I got them, they just felt like a material I had never tried before. They definitely do feel like plastic, but at the same time, they also don't. They don't feel anything like nylon, so there's no comparison to cartwheels there. To put things into perspective, in the same way that cartwheels sort of put themselves in a whole new category by creating nylon wheels, Luxario has sort of done that as well with this polymer blend. As far as both Nick and I are concerned, no one else in fingerboarding is making wheels that feel like this, unless I'm being really ignorant and I'm just like being really unaware. Normally, I really am not a huge fan of plastic. I don't know what it is. It's just like really not my type of wheel. It's a little bit too light for me. And because of that, I didn't expect to like Luxario's as much as I do. I've had other people who also aren't a huge fan of plastic tell me the same thing, that normally they hate plastic, but that they really like these wheels. But at the same time, I've also heard from people who like plastic wheels tell me they like these. If you've been following Luxario since the beginning, you'll know that so far he's only released 3 different shapes or types. Like I said, all 3 of them use the same durometer and the same material. The only real difference, I think, is that the F-types are dual bearing and obviously the sizes. There are definitely like design differences as well, and you'll see them in the upcoming B-roll. But for an average fingerboarder, I think the only thing you'll really feel a difference in is the size. So unfortunately, Nick has completely discontinued the F-types and B-types. He sort of did a final stock last week or 2 weeks ago, but he doesn't plan on bringing them back ever. And in fact, he's not bringing back dual bearing wheels at all, I don't think. But I still wanted to talk about all 3 of these wheels instead of just the origins, because I think these sort of give you an idea of how diverse and how knowledgeable Nick is in just like how he designs stuff. So the B-type is the biggest wheel by far at 8mm wide in diameter. If you want to compare them to cartwheels, they're like megacores, or another comparison is like flat face J4s. This wheel on the outside dips in a little bit, kind of like how a conical wheel dips in a little bit. It's like a thinner outer layer, if that makes sense. And then on the other side, it almost like, I would say, tapers a little bit. Out of the 3 wheels, these are not only the widest, but also the biggest. And these actually fit all trucks. The F-types are the most standard size wheel out of the 3 at 7mm wide. Yeah, like I said, it's just like a very regular size wheel. So it's like Cartwheels Classics or flat face G6As. If you look at them next to a B-type, you'll see that they are skinnier. Like I said, these are dual bearing, so that means they won't fit anything aside from white trucks and I think China BRT hangers. For most people, I think this is an issue, but I'm an avid white truck rider, as most of you know, so for me, it's not really an issue. In the future, I do hope that Nick releases a version of these wheels that will fit all trucks, even if that means only doing single bearing. Finally, the Origins, which are probably the smallest wheels I've ever owned. They're 6mm wide, which are about the same, I think, as Oak Minis, but they're also really, really thin. They're not like the size of a core, but they're just like really small. If you have Dirty FB Ill Pills minis, these are also smaller than those. This shape was designed based off of the trend in the 90s in skateboarding, where people were just riding really small wheels or bearing condoms, and I guess he just wanted to pay homage to that. These also have what Nick calls the True Lock bearing system, which means the bearings are not like friction fitted or glued, they're just like plain locked in. And fortunately, these fit every single truck. So like I said, the B-type and F-type aren't available anymore. Hopefully we see some version of these come about again. But yeah, I just wanted to talk a little bit about all 3 of them because he's clearly spent a lot of time thinking about and researching how he can make these wheels perfect. So the question is, are they worth it? As I'm sure you can tell because I've just been singing their praises, my answer is yes. These wheels go for between $35 to $45 US. The only sets that are 45 are the F-type, and I think it's because they are dual bearing. But since, according to the website, they're not doing dual bearing anymore, I'm guessing Luxario is just gonna stick to the $35 price point, which is amazing considering a lot of other newer wheel companies charge like 40 bucks. I heard a few people had issues with the bearing slipping for the B-type specifically, and hopefully with the new True Lock system, this means that problem is just like solved. As far as I'm concerned, no one's had any issues with the Origins. But the same people who told me they had issues with the B-types also told me when they emailed Nick about this issue, he was very happy to replace the wheels no problem. Personally, I'm really fortunate to have not experienced any of these issues as of yet, but I do hope that we see more consistency with these wheels. I think this is like only the 3rd drop of wheels so far, maybe even the 2nd drop. In a year's time, I think in even like 3 months time or a month's time, I think everything about these wheels will be 100% perfect. Another thing I really hope to see from Luxario is resident shapes, so shapes or types that are just gonna stay forever instead of having like a limited run of a shape. Hello, Editing Annie here with my very blown out window. So while editing this video, I realized I'm just sort of only talking about the good things and very briefly touching on the bad things. Trust me, that's not what I'm trying to do here. Since making this video, I have actually broken my Origins. I've broken 1 wheel from that set. I told Nick and he is working on fixing the issue, but I don't want it to sound like I'm almost idealizing this company because I'm definitely not doing that. But when I was talking about the price point at 35 bucks, the reason why I thought that was a very good price is because there are a lot of wheel companies out there who charge more than that, who charge like 45 bucks, 50 bucks for wheels. and they're still facing similar issues as Luxario. The difference between those companies and Luxario is that they're way past the point of being able to make mistakes, in my opinion. So companies that have been running for years. Luxario has been open for a few months, and like I said earlier in the video, this is like the third drop. I can see where the money is going. I can see that Nick is using the money to develop the company more, research more, like it's all going into research and development rather than him just trying to make a quick buck. Some of these companies out there are charging really high prices, but they're facing issues like quality control, wheels not working the way they're supposed to work, and on top of that, really bad customer service. I've heard stories from different people and their experiences with those types of companies where something goes wrong with their order and they don't hear back from the company and they don't get a replacement. Whereas like I said with Luxario, with Nick, like he is very happy to replace wheels for you if something has gone wrong. He's constantly thinking about what he can do to improve them, which is really, really good. I definitely can tell he doesn't think these wheels are perfect right now. If he's still having these types of issues a year from now, then that's like a whole different story. But right now, we're only a few months in. 2 sets of the wheels that I have are from the first drop, the first, like, I wouldn't even call them prototypes. I'm just seeing a lot more time and effort being put into improvement. And yeah, I just wanted to explain that that's why I'm so happy with this company. And it's not that I think they're perfect. I think they're getting there, and I think they're trying their best to reach perfection. And even when they reach perfection, I already know Nick is gonna still try to improve the company in other ways, because that just seems like the type of person he is. He's put himself at a very high standard as well, so just to give us all an indication of where he wants his company to be. That's all I wanted to say. Back to the video. Something that I also wanted to talk about is it's not just clear that he spends time on his product, but also his packaging and his website. The reason why I bring up the website is because, and this is I guess just like a free tip for companies out there from a consumer standpoint, user experience is really, really important. For Luxario, when you go onto the website, all the information that you need is there. When you click on a product, there is an in-depth description of what trucks they fit, what the diameter is, the material, the durometer, even though all of them are the same. And there's even a little section for the meaning and thought process behind the design. If you don't find the information that you need in those descriptions, there's a whole FAQ page as well, and you're probably gonna find all your answers there. The website is so easy to manage and navigate. I've noticed a lot of companies out there don't spend a lot of time on their website, and they expect their customers to find information or more information on their Instagram, and I just don't think that's like the right move to make. As a potential customer, I am definitely more inclined to buy something if it's such an easy process, as long as it's quick and I don't have to think too much about, oh, what's this? Like, where can I get more information? It just makes things so easy. Like, I just do a couple of clicks, I see all the information I want to see. I don't have to go back and forth between the website and your Instagram to figure out what exactly I want. I think that's really, really important. If you make the process easy for your customer, they're just gonna click through and buy. In the past, for most of the reviews that I've done, I've had to ask the company owners for more information, but for this review, I haven't had to ask a single thing from Nick other than, are you discontinuing the B types and the F types? And the answers were actually on the FAQ. But yeah, anyway, the packaging is also super cool. For the B type and the F type, they came in a little tube that reminded me a little bit of the lab wheels from No Comply. For the Origins, the packaging was even cooler, as you can see. And there's even a magnet at the bottom of the tube to make sure it won't like slip out accidentally and you lose your wheels. So the product design for even the packaging is really good. For me, not only is Luxario impressive for a new company, it's just an impressive company in general. I highly recommend checking them out if you haven't already, and I encourage you to purchase some wheels from them in the future when they next drop a stock. I hope I didn't miss any points here. If there's anything I did miss, definitely let me know in the comments below. I'll do my best to answer your questions. Thank you also to Nick for sending me these wheels. It means so much. He didn't actually ask me to make a review. He just wanted me to try them and see if they were good. But you know, he was so generous. I obviously needed to make a review. Yeah, that's about it. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video.